Here in the bottom left hand corner, the blue Zerg, it is, for Shopify Rebellion, SCARLETT. And in the opposite corner instead, in the red, the Terran player for Team Gunpack, it is RYUNG. Once again, it's not really surprising to see Oxide being a map that is played very often. Don't know how to say it otherwise. That's a very standard map. We all know how it works right now. It has been a while since it has been in the pool. I think it started in like maybe February? Maybe a little bit later, I don't know. It has been around for quite a while though. And players are very accustomed to it. So there's a little bit of a story between an underdog and a much scarier player in this series. Of course, RYUNG, not widely known for his success, still a fairly decent player, one who can really take games off of some of the best players around. On the other hand, SCARLETT, she has been probably the strongest non-Korean Zerg up until 2018. I don't really remember any better Zerg than her. Maybe Stefano was just a little bit weaker than her, but she has been around for such a long time, always bringing great games, great playstyle, changing her playstyle a lot as well. But we see here a fairly standard opening from both these players, with RYUNG actually going for a pretty fast roll-off in his main, even before the factory. Just the Reaper being as annoying as possible while checking that everything is in place. And SCARLETT is not going for anything cheeky. It's just a very standard opener. Not even a clash opener, it's just a 30 hatch in the third. Just very quick though. Like, it was pretty much perfect. We see RYUNG actually going for the double expand. And that is already starting to mix things up a little bit. A little bit of a greedy choice, of course. He's gonna rely mostly on Marines for a very long part of this game. And he's not gonna have much for defense if SCARLETT decides to go all out. One other problem that RYUNG is possibly going to have is creep, and actually the economy of the Zerg getting a little bit over control. But he's going to get some Hellions just to get some aggression. Of course, triple command center will mean less army, but it doesn't really mean that he cannot do something with very little as a Terran. And the Banshee is the clear example of this. A Banshee on the way for RYUNG really wants to put some pressure, even with his free command center opener. Of course, just the two aliens already slowing down a little bit. It's not gonna do much. The third and fourth alien, of course, are going to give RYUNG some killing power to these drones. First Banshee is out. Banshee Cloak still a long way before being done actually. SCARLETT actually breaking the rocks, wants to move her army around a little bit quicker. There's an army incoming, it's going to be Hellbats probably. Well, possibly, not even probably. SCARLETT taking a fourth. RYUNG really looking forward to find some damage. A lot of queens already in position. And SCARLETT safely expanding to her fourth base, safely getting her safety structures all there. Of course, talking about the Painliness and the Evo Chamber. Evo Chambers, most likely. For those very important upgrades. That's a lot of aliens, and there's an armory incoming. Steam is on the way. RYUNG has the transition back home. Second Banshee is out. Banshee clock is done. All the pieces of the puzzle are put together for this Helmet and Banshee push. Here comes the aliens. They want to turn as close to the queens as possible, tanking a lot of damage. Meanwhile, the queens getting a little bit too close together, giving a lot of AoE damage to these Hellbats. These Banshees dealing a lot of damage. Only few Hellbats remaining right now, but not a lot of transfuses available for SCARLETT. There's a Sport Crawler forcing this Banshee out of there. That's a lot of queens that has been killed by RYUNG. I don't know if that was enough. Zero economical damage being dealt, and RYUNG has still no worker in his third base. It's looking like it did some damage, but SCARLETT was very prepared for this kind of push. And Akontistes will be proud, because this Hellbat push doesn't look like it did enough. SCARLETT is getting her upgrades, is getting all the pieces she needs, and on 17-1 workers at the 6-minute mark, she's looking to be very strong very shortly. 3 queens being produced at the same time, and she's covering the map in purple, as she usually does. There's not a lot of players better than SCARLETT at spreading creep. And it really shows. RYUNG trying to do his best to stop this from happening, but SCARLETT is getting a little bit of aggro going on. Oh, the wall is down. Oh, well, yeah, the aliens deal a lot of damage to these lanes, but they still find a way in. And it's going to be a couple workers killed, to say the least. It's going to be 5. And the expense on SCARLETT's side was not even that much. It's not units she absolutely needs to replace. Not units she really cares about. She has an Hydroden incoming, an Infestation Pit. She has Painless Speed already going on. 2 more hatcheries, mostly for larva. She doesn't need more workers, really. But RYUNG wants to get some pressure on the map yet again. It looks like SCARLETT has replaced all her lost queens. RYUNG still has a fairly decent army. He has some upgrades going on for him right now. But SCARLETT, so much bank, so much supply, so many queens spread around. Creep is going to be put back for a little while at least. But RYUNG is getting a healthy amount of units to really put some pressure on SCARLETT. Oh, Bailey run by. The wall crumbles to these acidic bombs. And so do 4 SCVs, Lurker then incoming, as well as a Hive. RYUNG is basically on a timer right now, with SCARLETT taking the map under her toe. Beautiful Widowman connections, but SCARLETT, very good map awareness, taking care of all the possible multi-prong attacks that RYUNG is preparing. And the Terran player not really finding a way in. These 2 medivacs might actually deal some damage. It doesn't really look like SCARLETT is prepared in her own main base, but RYUNG is taking his time to actually get something done. He decides to go for the 4th base. Not much defenses over here as well, but much closer position with these links. They get there in time. 4 drones have been killed. The Widow Mines will be cleared. Still finding some damage. RYUNG badly needs some. And SCARLETT, she's just getting everything she wants right now, basically. Cryptumors finally put back again for a little while, and RYUNG is actually doing a fairly good job at taking these creep back. But in the end, SCARLETT will take a fairly decent connection with her Brilliance, and she's not gonna crumble too much. Creep spread yet again. Not a lot of energy on those queens, not a lot of transfuses available, but there's so many Painlings, so many defenses spread around, and RYUNG not really finding the damage in the main base of the Zerg player. Lurkers finally incoming as well for Scarlett. She's close to being maxed out. She's getting a run by on the top side of the map. And RYUNG cannot find a way to break in so many banelings. And those are dead Marines, my friend. And those are dead SCVs as well. Oh my goodness. Very good micro on RYUNG's side actually. But Scarlett can take those losses. And she has Lurker spread around for defense right now. That's most definitely not what you want, RYUNG, engaging under those Lurkers. That was a terrible choice. And Scarlett takes another huge piece of the Terran army. Oh my goodness, how many Lurkers is that? I've never seen so many in my life. Oh, the wall is down. Oh, the wall is up. And there's a tank for defense, but yeah, those Lurkers are just doing whatever they want right now, basically. Even taking an engagement underneath those liberators, Scarlett finds a way in. His planetary is doomed. And now the Lurkers are slowly but surely marching forward. So many workers falling for RYUNG. There's a huge piece of army here for RYUNG. These Lurkers need to be very careful on their retreat. Liberators dealing a very high amount of damage to these Lurkers, stopping them from getting as much damage as Scarlett would have wanted to, at least on the main army of RYUNG, was still fairly healthy. Now that's all he has going on for him right now. Lurkers are mobile but not super mobile. Oh, but that's a dream engagement for Scarlett. Lurkers on the side, Vipers abducting those Liberators, and there's only tanks left standing. Hydras making short work of these Liberators, and the army of RYUNG is gone for. Scarlett takes game number 1 of this series. Alright, alright. Scarlett made it look so unfair in the first game. RYUNG trying to put all the pressure he could. Scarlett simply not taking enough damage. But now we're on Beckett Industries. Much shorter map. Many different things can happen here. Any of the steel players might put on some more pressure on the map compared to the previous game, which RYUNG actually tried, but it wasn't still enough to put a dent into the defenses of a competent player such as Scarlett. RYUNG can bring this best of 7 to the ace match, but now the best of 2 is going in favor of Scarlett. And with an early pool, actually, that is interesting. She might want to be a little bit safer around the early game, which can be very tricky to deal with. So many good proxy locations for the Terran. Doesn't look like RYUNG is going for anything crazy. But an early pull is not going to pull Scarlett back too much. Pretty much going to be fine. She's going to have a slightly later third, but that's not something that really matters as much as it will matter having a safe counter against a proxy, which is not happening. Now RYUNG knows this is an early pull, but it doesn't really look like Scarlett is going ham on the links, just going to get the 2 back to drones. It's a safety pool. The archery pops up as soon as the Reaper makes his way into the main. Oh, that dude! Yeah, that drone was almost doomed. He survives barely, but he survives. That's another drone under attack right here. Oh, the cancel. With the Spore Crawler denying a kill. It has become so standard right now, but there was a thing widely known as the Reaper tax in the past, which will mean losing one drone or a couple lanes, and no one is really losing them anymore. It's a little bit funny. That's a lot of links for SCARLETT making their way, actually, and there's absolutely zero defenses from RYUNG. That's a cheeky way to use a safety 16 pool. It's going to mean it's not going to deal a lot of damage. It's just going to stop RYUNG from mining in his natural for a little while. Not going to get a cancel on the orbital command. Will even drop a mule before lifting that. A drone actually gets killed by the Reaper, who dies for his sins, while SCARLETT is still putting a healthy amount of pressure. Actually, it's again a Banshee opener. Hellions are not going to find an easy way on top of these lanes. Like, they need to be very careful, especially those SCVs are not really in a great spot right now. Lings kind of paying off for themselves, getting, I think it was 2 SCVs, or maybe just a 1. Well, yeah, they didn't really pay for themselves. 16 more incoming for SCARLETT. I don't know if it was the right choice for her to stay there. Here comes the third base from RYUNG. Fairly standard timing, nothing too crazy. But Banshee clock is incoming. RYUNG once again wants to rush a little bit of economy while trying to put pressure in the cheapest way possible, which is Banshees, since they pretty much only are heavy on your resources because of the gas. The Hellions making their way before the armory is even started, and they're going to find themselves surrounded. Beautiful play by SCARLETT, replacing those lanes very quickly, taking care of all the Hellions. RYUNG not in a great spot right now. There was an early lair coming for SCARLETT, really cutting off those corners in her build order to rush a little bit of later attack. She's going to see the Banshee as well. 3 Spore Crawlers already dropped. No Hellions for defense, and that's a fresh mule under attack. 2 workers already killed. It's going to be a third, and it's going to be both Angie base delayed by a very long time, with the Spire being dropped by SCARLETT. SCARLETT absolutely on top of her game. There was a hole in that wall of, and now the Banshee play has been shown. RYUNG still is going to try to deal some damage with it. It's not going to be as easy. There's actually a lair for Overseers if SCARLETT finds the need for it, aside from 3 Spore Crawlers already spread around in a very thin space, which is going to mean these Banshees are pretty much always going to be visible, especially with this Overseer on the map. Not even going to grant RYUNG the scouting opportunity to see the Spire going up. And SCARLETT absolutely controlling their own side of the map flawlessly. These Banshees forced to use this scan just for creep. But you know what air units do? They don't care about creep. And it goes both ways. Those mutas are going to fly into your base, RYUNG, regardless of how much creep you kill. More creep tumors actually not being killed by RYUNG. SCARLETT getting a huge amount of mutas, and of course going to support it with some links on the low ground, and of course Banelings incoming with Baneling speed just finishing, as well as Oblo speed, of course, to keep an Overseer alongside those mutas. A 4th base going up as well, and SCARLETT already sending them on the right side of the map. Here comes the mutas, and there's no turret for defense. Oh my goodness, these SCVs will find an unpleasant surprise while they work, since 8, 9, 10 and counting of them are going to fall. There's a missile turret going on into the main, but it's not going to be up in time. 12 SCVs killed with just the 7 starting mutas. SCARLETT doesn't even feel compelled to make more, with 15 workers being killed, a 30 workers lead, a huge army supply, and possibly tying the upgrade score very shortly with those +1 melee and +1 carapace. RYUNG feeling compelled to do something, sending his army through the map. These Banshees are going to find themselves wide open to these mutas, and now RYUNG going for the desperate play. SCARLETT sending her Banelings in. Tanks are going to find themselves a little bit too exposed, while the mutas are soon to be in for clearing up 6 links. 6 SCVs have been killed by the links in the top left. The Banshees have been cleared by the mutas, and now the mutas are back for blood. This time, it's going to be the Marines, the Medivacs, everything SCARLETT finds is going to fall to these mutas and to these Banelings and links. Last Banshee standing, but it's not going to be enough. SCARLETT takes the series 2-0.